Ever wonder what one of the biggest economic shifts in history actually looks like? Well, today we're going to break down the massive multi-trillion-dollar transformation happening in our global energy systems right now. Let's dive in. All right, let's just kick things off with a number so big it's almost hard to wrap your head around. $6.24 trillion. That's the forecast for the energy transition market by 2035. This isn't just some small trend. It's a massive wave that's fundamentally reshaping the global economy as we speak. Okay, so when you hear a number like that, you've got to ask, right? What in the world is an energy transition? What are we actually buying with all those trillions of dollars? At its heart, it's pretty straightforward. It's the global pivot away from the old-school fossil fuels that built the modern world. Coal, oil, and gas, and toward cleaner, more sustainable alternatives. We're talking about the whole shebang. Solar panels, wind turbines, electric cars, and even just making our buildings a lot smarter and more efficient. So, to really get a feel for the sheer scale of this, let's put that huge number into perspective. And look, this isn't some pie-in-the-sky prediction for the distant future. This market is already worth over $2.5 trillion today, and it's on track to more than double in just the next decade. That's a growth rate of almost 9% every single year. For an industry this massive, that pace is just incredible. So, where is all that cash actually going? Let's pop the hood and break down the key ingredients of this multi-trillion-dollar market. If you look at how the money is spent, it's really in three main buckets. The lion's share, nearly half the entire market, is going straight into building out renewable energy. Think solar, wind, and hydropower. The next biggest piece of the pie is electrification, which is where things like the switch to EVs come in. And finally, you have all the spending on energy efficiency improvements. And if we ask who is spending all this money, one sector just dominates the field: power and utilities. They're pouring a whopping 59% of the capital into huge projects, like massive solar farms and modernizing the grid. Coming in second, as you might guess, is the transportation sector. So, what's lighting a fire under all this growth? Let's take a look at the key forces that are really pushing this whole transition forward. It really comes down to three major things. First, you've got governments all around the world creating policies that push for decarbonization. Second, it's just pure economics. The cost of renewables and batteries has absolutely plummeted to the point where they're often cheaper than fossil fuels. And third, we've got smarter tech, like AI, making our energy systems way more efficient than ever before. But of course, a transition this enormous is never going to be a perfectly smooth ride. It's really important to look at the significant roadblocks that are out there. The roadblocks are really on two fronts: financial and technical. I mean, the upfront cash you need to build a new solar farm or a network of EV chargers is just immense. That can mean long payback periods, which make some investors a little nervous. And then on the technical side, our existing power grids, well, they're old. They weren't designed for energy sources that fluctuate, like when the sun isn't shining or the wind isn't blowing, and that creates some major stability headaches. So you end up with this really fascinating tug-of-war. On one side, you have these powerful forces pushing the transition forward, the policies and the falling costs. But on the other, you have these heavy anchors pulling it back, the need for massive amounts of capital and the physical limits of our current infrastructure. How fast this all happens really depends on which of these forces wins out. Now, let's zoom out and look at the world map. Where is all this action actually taking place? And the answer could not be clearer. The Asia-Pacific region is the undisputed leader. It holds a commanding 42% share of the entire global market, making it the absolute epicenter of this transformation. That's bigger than North America and Europe's shares. So why is this region so far ahead? Well, it's being driven by a powerful combination of government mandates and just a fire hose of private investment from economic powerhouses like China, India, Japan, and South Korea. They are pouring money into every corner of the transition, making them the world's #1 builders of new renewable capacity. All right, for our last section, let's look ahead. What are the next big opportunities we should be watching in this massive transition? Two areas in particular are growing faster than all the others. The first is electrification. And we're not just talking about the explosion in EV adoption, but also heavy industries converting to electric processes. And this, of course, directly fuels the incredible growth in the transportation sector, which is seeing the highest growth rate of all as the world shifts to electric mobility.
And if you look out on the horizon, a whole new wave of technology is starting to emerge. We're talking about potential game changers like green hydrogen for heavy industry, carbon capture for those hard-to-fix emissions, and AI-powered grids that can manage energy with incredible precision. This is the tech that's going to shape the next phase of this transition.
So let's end on this thought. Trillions of dollars are flowing into completely reshaping the very foundation of our modern world, our energy systems. The technology and the investment are moving at lightning speed. The critical question that remains is this: can our physical infrastructure, our grids, our transmission lines, our cities, actually keep up?